2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor could buy a cloak made of the finest silk, imported all the way from China, for one single gold coin. Today, that same coin, if you held it in your hand, could still buy a luxury suit worth thousands of dollars. But here's the twist. The paper dollar that replaced that gold coin has lost 97% of its value in just the last century. So it makes you wonder, who really had it better? Was it ancient Egypt, where gold was sacred and value never faded? Was it ancient Rome, where silver built an empire that stretched across continents until inflation destroyed it from within? Or is it modern America, the land that controls the world's paper money for now? Because if history tells us anything, it's that money defines power, and when a civilization starts playing with its money, its fall is only a matter of time. Egypt, Rome, America, three superpowers separated by millennia, but united by one obsession: control of wealth. The Egyptians believed gold was the flesh of the gods. It wasn't just metal, it was divine. Every temple, every tomb, every royal artifact shimmered with it. Gold never rusted, never faded, never lied. To them, that permanence was more than beauty, it was stability. Their entire economy was built around something that couldn't be created out of thin air. No central bank, no printing press, just pure, mind, tangible wealth. But centuries later, when Rome rose to power, they thought they'd perfected the system. Instead of gold, they minted silver coins, denarii, stamped with the emperor's face, his name, and his power. It wasn't divine anymore, it was political. Rome turned money into propaganda. And for a while, it worked. Trade boomed, soldiers were paid, cities expanded. Rome's economy stretched from the deserts of Egypt to the forests of Germany. But then came the temptation every empire faces. What happens when the empire runs out of real silver, but still wants more wars, more roads, more glory? That's when they started cheating. They reduced the silver content in each coin. The denarius that once shone with 90% silver fell to less than 5%. The coin still looked the same, but the people noticed something was off. Prices began to rise. Bread cost more. Soldiers demanded higher pay. Trust, the foundation of any economy, began to crumble. Sound familiar? Because centuries later, America would face the exact same temptation. In the early 20th century, the US dollar was backed by gold. Every note in your hand promised that somewhere, locked in a vault, there was real gold waiting for you. That system worked until the same hunger for expansion, for control, for global dominance crept in. Wars had to be funded. Economies had to be stimulated. And soon, like Rome, the US started creating money faster than it could mine the gold to back it. In 1971, President Richard Nixon closed the gold window, the last link between the dollar and real metal. For the first time in history, America's wealth was no longer tied to something real. It was tied to belief. The belief that the dollar would always hold value because America was powerful enough to make it so. But here's the catch: belief is fragile. Just ask Rome. While Rome's silver coins lost their shine, Egypt's gold remained untouched beneath the sands for thousands of years, its value preserved, its purity unbroken. When modern archaeologists opened the tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922, the gold inside was worth more than entire nations' currencies combined. Gold didn't care about time. It didn't inflate. It didn't need propaganda. Now, look at today's dollar. It's still the world's reserve currency, still the backbone of global trade, but every year, it buys a little less. In ancient Egypt, a single gold ring could buy land. In Rome, a silver coin could buy a feast. In America, a single dollar once bought a full meal. Now it buys a few fries. But here's where it gets deeper. What made these empires great wasn't just their money. It was their control over other nations' money. Egypt had gold that every kingdom desired. Its control of the Nile made it the world's golden artery. Rome taxed its conquered provinces, demanding tribute in silver, draining wealth from Britain to Babylon. And America? It doesn't conquer land. It conquers with debt. The dollar is everywhere, in banks in Tokyo, oil trades in Saudi Arabia, savings accounts in Europe. It's the new empire's tribute system, invisible, digital, and global. But here's the twist. Empires that control money eventually become trapped by it. Egypt grew complacent in its wealth. It stopped innovating. Rome overspent to maintain its armies. It drowned in debt. And America? It's printing more money today than any empire has ever imagined. The question isn't whether it can keep printing. The question is, when does the world stop believing in it? What's fascinating is that ancient Egypt and Rome didn't even have the concept of inflation like we do. Their currencies were physical, finite. When there was no gold, there was no money. Today, the US can create trillions of dollars with a few keystrokes. Money isn't mined, it's imagined. That power makes America unstoppable, but dangerously fragile. Because when value becomes imagination, collapse becomes memory. And if history repeats itself, it always does, then we may already be watching the fall begin. But to understand just how close modern America might be to the edge, we have to go back to the very moment gold lost its throne and paper took over. Because the same decision that made the US the world's richest nation may also be the one that ends its financial empire. And just like Egypt and Rome, it all started with one simple idea: that you can control people if you control their money. Imagine this. You're an Egyptian merchant standing by the Nile 3,000 years ago. In your hand rests a small golden scarab, a coin so pure it gleams even under the desert sun. You trade it for grain, linen, and spices, and the man across from you doesn't even test it. He trusts it. Because gold in Egypt was eternal, it was truth. Now fast forward 1,000 years. You're in the bustling Forum of Rome. Your hand closes around a denarius, silver stamped with the emperor's face. It looks valuable, but how much silver is really inside it? You bite it. You weigh it. You don't quite trust it anymore. Rome's money looked strong, but inside, it was hollowing out. And today, you tap a screen. Numbers change. $1 million vanish or appear in an instant, and yet you've never seen a single coin. Your wealth lives in servers, not safes. So ask yourself, which of these worlds actually had real wealth? The one that mined it, the one that melted it, or the one that prints it? When Egypt ruled, money meant labor. Every ounce of gold was the sweat of miners in Nubia, the yield of trade caravans crossing the desert. It was slow, difficult, and honest. That hardship made value real. Rome tried to copy that, but ambition corrupted it. To pay its legions, Rome needed more silver than the earth could give. So emperors mixed copper into coins, pretending they were still pure. It was the world's first quantitative easing, 2,000 years before the term existed. Prices soared, confidence fell, and as Rome's economy inflated, so did its pride, until both burst. Now look at America. The printing presses hum, the digital ledgers expand, and the numbers keep multiplying. Trillions created overnight. But what backs them? Faith. Only faith. Egypt had gold. Rome had silver. America has belief, and belief, once broken, never returns the same. Here's the paradox every empire faces. The more powerful your money becomes, the more fragile your empire gets. Egypt's wealth drew envy and invasion. Rome's currency paid for expansion, until expansion consumed it. America's dollar conquered the world, but now it depends on that world to survive. Because what happens if one morning the rest of the world wakes up and says, no more dollars? We've seen this movie before. When Rome's allies stopped trusting its silver, trade collapsed overnight. Breadlines formed. Soldiers deserted. The empire that had ruled the known world starved in its own marketplaces. Could that happen to America? It sounds impossible, until you remember how every empire before it said the same thing. Egypt's strength was that its money couldn't vanish. Gold was buried in tombs, sealed in temples, hidden in deserts. Even when dynasties fell, the metal remained. Millennia later, we still dig it up, unchanged. Rome's silver? Gone. Melted, reused, debased beyond recognition. Its coins tell a story of greed carved into metal. And the dollar? When it fades, it leaves no ruins. Just numbers deleted from screens, memories of value erased with a click. Which would you rather hold? A relic that lasts forever, or a promise that could vanish tomorrow? But here's the twist no one expects. Every empire believed its money was the future. Egypt thought gold would rule forever, until Rome's armies marched in and took it. Rome thought silver would last eternally, until gold from Egypt and trade with Asia drained it dry. And America? It believes the dollar will never die, yet its own debt rises faster than any empires in history. The cycle isn't just economic, it's psychological. Each civilization reaches a point where it confuses abundance with stability. Egypt had too much gold to fear scarcity. Rome had too much territory to fear collapse. America has too much credit to imagine failure. But when everything is easy, when wealth feels infinite, value quietly disappears. What makes this story haunting is that Egypt's economy lasted for 3,000 years. Rome's lasted for about 500, and the American financial empire? Barely 100 years off the gold standard. Every version of money is shrinking in lifespan, from gold that lasted millennia, to silver that lasted centuries, to paper that's struggling to last decades. So what happens next? If the dollar falls, what replaces it? Digital currency? Gold again? Or something Egypt would recognize? Real metal, real value, real cost? Because deep down, every economist, every banker, every politician knows money isn't about what you print. It's about what people believe will still be there tomorrow. And right now, belief is fading. Picture this final image. Under the sands of Egypt, untouched for 5,000 years, sits a golden mask, flawless, glowing, eternal. Somewhere in Rome, a few ancient coins lie corroded and green. And on a hard drive in New York, trillions of digital dollars blink in and out of existence every millisecond. Which of these will survive the next 1,000 years? Which one will still mean something when the servers go dark? That's the real comparison. Not who had more, but who had value that lasted. Egypt traded in eternity. Rome traded in empire. America trades in time, fleeting, borrowed, digital time. So maybe the question isn't who controlled the world's money. Maybe it's who understood it. And if history has a voice, it's whispering through the gold of Egypt, through the ruins of Rome, through the fading ink of the dollar, warning us that the fall of every empire begins the moment it forgets what its money is truly worth. And if you think America's story ends here, think again. Because the same forces that destroyed Rome are already at work, quietly, in the vaults of the modern world.